Ofori Atta today is asking the United States authority to change his status. The Ofori Atta narrative that he was not well, he was sick.
Well, abusuafo ma memo akwaba embra bright Ghana update so enchai ana US ice ekoso a Ofori Atta ehon sem ebeye bibre Ghana mayimu ha eno nam so ama Ghana embassy a Washington DC inti ayetini se omo try omo best senko omo ko provide consular assistance ama bibia aye kama na inti ayesa atini se Ofori Atta decline se obe meet omo without his lawyers eno nam so ama nkomo bibre aba betodwa lawyer Eduzi Tamakulu ababo ntendi insembi ababe tuja entimumi enkotie nsema lawyer Eduzi Tamakulu ede atuja ebe tuaso.
I think that some few things have been happening in the past few days, and I think it's important that we acknowledge that. IGP Yohonu and his police management team, the men and women in uniform, have over the period done certain important arrests that gears towards making all of us safe in our homes, on our streets, among others. They have effected the arrest of some robbers who, per the police reports, have been terrorizing citizens. I make this point in sharp response to the press conference organized by the minority not long ago, led by our old mother, Madame Patricia Piaget, where the minority sought to create an incident or create an impression that there is insecurity in the country. I want to thank IGP Yohonu and his officers for this major arrest. They are geared towards making all of us safe in our homes, so that we can sleep in peace. So to the men and women of the Ghana Police Service, I say ayuko and continue the good work.
Okay. Now, from what the Ghanaian embassy is saying, the well-overtures made to Ofori Atta, and he says that without the presence of his lawyers, he has a right, of course, to refuse that support. But what do you make of the narrative so far, subsequently leading to that support that had been extended to him by the Ghana embassy? Okay, thank you so much. I hope we will have the opportunity of maybe discussing briefly the groundbreaking payment done by the Ministry of Finance. Yeah, we'll do that for the second.
So. The Ministry of Energy.
So once we keep
$1.4 billion legacy debts. Our lights have been on for the past almost a year, and I want to salute the Minister of Finance and my sector minister, Honorable Abdullahi Jinapo. But that said, on the substantive matter, you see, Roland, I am a firm believer of the rule of law and the respect for same. I have, in the past 12 years, in my law practice, represented clients of diverse background, but mostly in terms of criminal defense practice, I have done a bit of work, and I have always advocated that anything that gives the ordinary Ghanaian the opportunity and the benefit of due process, that should be done. And we should never do anything to reduce those fundamental rights, particularly the constitutional provision on Article 19. And you have the benefit of the Constitution. Kindly read it for me, Article 19 of the Constitution.
So basically, I'll just go through.
And the heading relates to fair trial. Fair trial.
Fair trial.
The fair trial rules. And the reason for these fair trial rules is that it is no respecter of a person. Be you a Ofori Atta, be you an Eduji, be you Buahin, be you a Roland, be you what? In the superior wisdom of the framers of the 1992 Constitution, they created in it these fair trial rules. And the reason for these fair trial rules is to ensure that any Ghanaian accused of any crime whatsoever should have the benefit of due process. And these rules have been given and elevated to constitutional pedestal. And that should tell you the strength. Again, if you look at Article 14, 15, on the right of a person who is under arrest or any form of investigation, the rights that should be accorded that person. All these constitutional rights have been put in place to ensure that any Ghanaian, regardless of religion, ethnicity, status, should be given that opportunity that they will profile a defense. Look, Roland, I recall, as defense counsel in the NCA criminal matter in 2017, I remember an episode where we went to court before my Lord Justice Chebafo, now a justice of the Court of Appeal, where in the trial, listen carefully, in the trial, we had to consult our clients in open court whether or not we should object to a piece of evidence that is being offered against them or not, right in open court. So I remember one day, Sunday, I called my brother Randolph Chumesi, and I said, Randolph, the way this trial is going on, it will not help us. Let's do something. I remember drafting an application for discovery. I sent it to my senior Justice Rimsai for his comments, among other seniors. We filed it. We appeared before Justice Chebafo and moved an application for discovery in criminal matters. When we did, the then Attorney General, Madam Gloria Kufu, came to court and they opposed that application. Roland, it took the intervention of my Lord Justice Chebafo, who saw merit in the application and said, look, I'll refer it to the Supreme Court for interpretation and direction. That is what resulted, I'm sure, in the criminal procedure class. They'll tell you the Eugene Bafo-Boni decision on discoveries. That is how we did it. And I remember in that application, the then AG opposition was that allowing discoveries in summary trials was going to be burdensome and others. Today, through that referral by my Lord Justice Chebafo, the Supreme Court today had given direction, said that in all criminal matters, be it at the district court, circuit court, high court, or whatsoever, the accused person is offered the opportunity of discoveries. That is the kind of growth, that is the kind of constitutional development that we've had over the period. Now to the specific issue of Mr. Ken Ofori Atta, and I needed to give these preambles so that we would all, from 2017, became the finance minister of this republic until he was replaced by the Honorable Amin Anta. Now get this, the finance minister is the protector, the number one handler of the public purse. Now if you recall, even in the Bible, the parable of the talents, you recall Christ tells us the story of a man who gave talents to his servants. He traveled, came back, and asked those servants, what sayest thou of the talents I've given to you? Accountability. So you notice that when we created this constitution, we provided in it that the governing principles underpinning this constitution shall be one, probity, to probe, to ask questions. Two, accountability, to account for your stewardship.
And you're saying this in relation to Ken Ofori Atta?
Ken Ofori Atta. So you notice that the governing principles underlining our current constitutional architecture is probity, accountability, and social justice. The reason for this principle should never be lost on any of us public officers. Not long ago, I had to appear before the Public Accounts Committee, but for some reason, my deputy had to go to account for the work I do. And that's why the name of the committee is what? Public Accounts Committee, accountability. Now, in the specific case of Mr. Ken Ofori Atta, you have been the person who, for all this period, have signed all onto our monies, committed this government or the government of the Republic of Government to Ghana to financial commitments over the period. In fact, the law of what? The Public Financial Management Act is a Ministry of Finance Act. Now you have a situation where you have just been asked, come and account for your stewardship. The public fund that came into your hands, how you utilize it. Initially, we were told that you were not well, and so you needed medical assistance abroad.
His lawyer does indicate that he's recuperating and would only leave the jurisdiction based on his medical practitioner's advice.
You see, there is a statement by the Law Office of Minka Primo. Read it. You have it. Now, if you read that statement from the Law Office of Minka Primo, it is the mark of sheer insincerity on the part of Mr. Ken Ofori Atta. That statement from the Law Office of Minka Primo puts the Ken Ofori Atta narrative that he was not well, he was sick, and therefore needed medical attention into a different perspective. Because in that statement by the Law Offices of Minka Primo, they say Ken Ofori Atta today is asking the United States authority to change his status. That is insincerity to the highest order.
How is that?
At the time,
because according to the statement,
carefully,
it says that it has a pending petition for adjustment of status.
Can you imagine this?
Is he not entitled
to have
that right?
That is the height of dishonesty. That is the height of insincerity. At the time, Mr. Ken Ofori Atta wrote to the former chief of staff, Madame Fremont Parry, to permit him to travel abroad. It was for medical purposes. You get your treatment, you come back. You are now writing to the U.S. officers, and your lawyers have confirmed it, that the reason is that you want to adjust your status. You now want green card. You now want permanent residence. That is the mark of dishonesty. And we should not tolerate this.
Is he not entitled to
what it means is that when he said he was going to the United States of America for medical purposes, it was a ruse to escape from accountability.
That he had other ulterior motives beyond that?
And look, the lawyers for him, I wish they never wrote this statement. But it is good for public accounts. Because per this statement, his lawyers voluntarily are now telling the people of this country that Mr. Ken Ofori Atta now wants green card. He wants permanent residence.
It's not been specified that.
No, but that's what it is. If you went with B1, B2 visas and now you want an adjustment, effectively what you are asking for is you want permanent residence. Why do you think Mr. Ken Ofori Atta now wants to run away from the properties he had acquired?
I don't understand.
His own house at Labone here. Why is his own house now becoming like a hunting ground? Like a ghost, like ghosts haunting him. You see, I have always maintained, and as a public official, I'm always minded about one thing. There is a day, like the Bible, a day for judgment, a day for accountability. So whatever we are doing, we are minded by this sacred thing. Now, you see, the reason why it's important that Mr. Ken Ofori Atta is made to come back to Ghana to face his stewardship, to account for that stewardship, you know why? It's a lesson to all of us public officials. And Mr. Ken Ofori Atta has become a bad influence.
How do you mean by a bad influence?
A bad influence in the sense that today, Eduji here, if I'm giving public responsibility, I know tomorrow I will escape from justice.
How so?
I'll run to Togo. I won't go to America.
I'll go to that you're unwell?
Yes. Maybe for me, I'll go for herbal medicine and go to Togo. At least the Atama close and Noche and the rest. So I'll go and stay there.
As well.
And Benin, the Home Republic, where Agokoli used to be. I mean, that's going back home. Roland, what it tells you is that he had become a bad example for public office holders.
I don't understand that. If you are supposed to account, then you run away.
You run away.
Oh, Eduji.
No, but what is it? And you see, Mr. Ken Ofori Atta is not just any minister. He was the finance minister. Now look at our political history. From 1992, the Minister of Finance up to 1996 was Mr. Kwesi Botwe, correct?
Yeah, correct, yeah.
Subsequently, it became Richard Kwampepra.
Yeah.
Nana Osafo Mafo. Then Kwejo Barre, and we've had it till now.
Yeah.
Each one of them stayed in this country to go through the rigors of accountability. See,
but Ken Ofori Atta is
let
a man
me-
who is not accustomed to the environment of the United States. Indeed, went to school there.
you know Ken
He's,
Ofori
Yale
Atta.
trained.
You know Ken Ofori Atta's own father was a finance minister, Jones Ofori Atta.
Sure.
After his stewardship, he didn't run away. He stayed in this country. In fact, he was MP.
He subsequently even contested MPP presidential
Yes.
candidate.
Now, you know the intriguing part of this conversation, Roland.
Eduji, wrap up for me.
I will. Is the fact that Minister Kwampepra went through prosecution. Incidentally, do you know who prosecuted Minister Kwampepra? Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo as Attorney General. Yes. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo as President investigated Mr. Setekwe. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo as President investigated Honorable Ato Forson. In fact, I remember vividly going to Yoko with Honorable Ato Forson in November 2017. In fact, when we went to Yoko in
November 2017?
2017, for 4 years, Honorable Ato Forson was never called again by Yoko. You know what happened? E-levy, the budget was read on the 19th November 2021. That had in it e-levy. Ranking on Finance, Honorable Ato Forson raised an issue about the fact that e-levy was going to destroy the entire ecosystem. What happened? On 25th, so budget 19, 25th November 2021, I was there when now Speaker Bagbe called that Yoko had written to him that they should allow Ato Forson to come back 4 years after an investigation, simply because Ken Ofori Atta was annoyed that Honorable Ato Forson had committed on the e-levy. Just then, in Speaker Bagbe's conference room, Ato was charged.
And you represented him?
I was with him there.
You were his lawyer?
I was with him. And for almost 4 years, from 2021, until the Court of Appeal acquitted and discharged him, we were going to court back and forth. So if Minister Ato Forson can stay in this country for 8 solid years, Minister Setekwe 8 solid years, and went through the full rigors of the law, what is so unique? I have heard the other narrative that it is witch hunting. So far, who has investigated Mr. Ken Ofori Atta? The Office of the Special Prosecutor, correct? October 2017, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo assented to the act establishing the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Did Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, Ken Ofori Atta, and the NPP in 2017 set up that office to witch hunt people?
I don't understand.
That is the office that is prosecuting and investigating him. And so where from this narrative of witch hunting? Now, I'll conclude finally on this. President John Dramani Mahama, who even became president of this republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo wrote to the Office of the Special Prosecutor to investigate him and his family.
What's your point with this?
The point is that even the president, the former president, OSP, went to him, took his statement in the company of his lawyers. Due process. What is so unique about Mr. Ken Ofori Atta?
I don't understand.
That he cannot.
Is that what you're claiming?
Even a former president. non-minister, former president, went through the full rigors of Ghanaian criminal law. You need to live above reproach. Of all ministers, the one that have direct financial fiduciary responsibility is that of the finance minister. And so I think that it's even in the interest of my brother's political party, the NPP, that Ken Ofori Atta comes and account. So that in 2028, when you are campaigning, Ghanaians will not believe that if you vote for NPP in a very long future, their finance ministers will run away from accountability.